morning, everyone. This is Cheryl Guess, and I'm here with my cohorts, Dale Olansky and Gail Morton and William Conway. And today's show is about pain, our greatest teacher. This is a beautiful thought coming from, and it sounds like pain, beautiful, but it is, because there's aspects of it that really enhance our lives. And so this is our Wednesday morning offering from the Center for Spiritual Living in Palm Desert. So I'd just like to start us off with a short invocation and just get us into that space where we're all open and receptive to what's going on here today. So just gently find yourself a relaxing place within you where your body is comfortable and you're just at peace. You feel in perfect balance and everything is just ready now to unfold in perfect divine right order. I know that everyone that is present today in this show and those that observe this show afterwards are here by divine urge, that we know that there is something that we are opening our hearts and our minds to in order to continue this beautiful path of growth that we're on. And I know that everyone here is ready to hear and to listen and to feel everything that is going to unfold in this moment. And I'm so grateful for everyone that is present. And I know that everything is in right order in this moment. And so it is. Amen. So today, Gail has come up with this beautiful thing to look at, pain. How do you look at pain and think, oh, this is beautiful, but it can be. So today's question that Gail has put out to us is, if you had an infinitely wise fairy godmother that could answer any question you have regarding life or work, what would you ask her? Oh boy, I really have thought about this one. This is infinitely wise is the words that seem to me just to really resonate, that a wise fairy godmother that no matter what I say knows what's best for me, and it unfolds in that way. So I think that I would ask her, am I ready? Am I in the right position to go forward and to develop a nice relationship with a member of the opposite sex in my life? I have so many dear friends. I have so many people that just fill my heart with joy every day. But I am now ready and I am now open to that. And I've said it before. I know I keep saying that, but I really am ready now. I think that so much has occurred in my life and so much growth has occurred that I feel like I am ready and I can hold up my end of a relationship. Now, I know that it's not 100% on me or 100% on the other person. I only have to come through with 50% of it. But I'm ready now to give my 50% wholeheartedly. So that is what I would ask my fairy godmother. Where's the right man for me that I know that I can be in that perfect space where I feel comfortable in a relationship? That would be my question. So now I'm going to turn it over to William. William, I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Well, actually, I don't have too much to say about it because ask her absolutely nothing. It's one thing to ask a fairy godmother or that genie for something physical or something materialistic, car, money, that sort of stuff. But to ask her about my life and what's going to happen, I don't need to know. I love the journey. I love planning a day. Like this morning, I had a plan to go to my shop because I was meeting two people to do a quick little job and then to be back here in time to do the show. Well, I get to my shop and the one guy doesn't show up, but the one guy does something, a small little tiny sand. It took me 5 minutes to do this little sandblasting job just to, to help him out. And the gentleman paid me quite well, far beyond what I would have been comfortable asking. But the idea of not knowing that type of situation, but just allowing it to unfold and just the excitement and the energy and just the awe of just the way the universe works, I love. So to ask what's going to happen for me, or what's my, should I turn left or right at the next intersection? I don't need to know, because I love the journey, because I always know that spirit is always there for my highest and best good. Even when I fall in that ditch, at some point, I'm going to be able to look back at that ditch, realizing it slowed me down just long enough to miss the accident up ahead of me. So with that said, I'd like to hear what Dale has to say about this.
Oh my goodness. Well, good morning, everybody. It's great to be here with you. It was an interesting question to contemplate, because to me, it's like, I already have a wise fairy godmother, and it's the mind of God, and I can ask it anything because it's right there. But I wanted to play the game anyway, so so I'm playing the game. So the thing that my question would be, is there something that I'm missing that I need to know to create a greater consciousness for myself? Is there something I'm just not focused on that I need to see that would bring greater illumination to my heart and my mind? That was kind of what I would ask my wise fairy godmother, is just really what do I need to know that I don't know right now that would make this life even better? So I'm going to pass it on now to Gail.
Thank you, everybody. I have really enjoyed your answers. So, because pain as a spiritual teacher is our topic today, and this is a really big topic. And I know that my cohorts are going to have all kinds of experiences that they can share with you, because guess what? We all experience pain, and we all have the opportunity for that pain to be a spiritual teacher. So I love all of your answers, and it was really meant to be a very light question, a wise fairy godmother with an otherwise pretty deep topic. So if I could ask this wise, infinitely wise fairy godmother any question I could think of regarding my life or my work, my question today would be, what haven't I taken the time to learn or ponder about? So what haven't I taken the time to learn about? And it may sound really simple, but honestly, for me, it's a biggie, and it's one that I love. So I'm going to let you all ponder on that while I move into our topic for today. So our talk title today is Pain, Our Greatest Teacher for Growth. And I chose this title because it is really clear on where we're heading. But what's more important is where we're going to end up today, right? Which is with you becoming the CEO of your own well-being. So let's begin with the first word in our title, pain. So let's be honest. Pain can turn our world and our internal compass upside down, and it can shove us down into the darkness. And at the same time, pain is often our best guide to healing, to loving, and to living. And sure, some people are cured of their pain. But equally amazing is that some individuals are healed by their pain. And what does healed by pain look like? Well, confronting pain can open our eyes and our hearts in such a way that something deep within opens to healing. Old emotional wounds are salved, counterproductive attitudes are shed, and the frantic pace to life slowed. So as part of the same process, generosity of spirit, love, appreciation, and deeper meaning become truly luminous. So within that bubble, let's look at this great teacher, pain, a little bit more closely. So we've all experienced pain. Pain can be an invasive, paralyzing part of life. Emotional pain, physical pain, pain caused by stress or disruptions in our family or maybe our career. We all experience these different types of pain for many different reasons. When I was in public accounting, a staff accountant that reported to me committed suicide. And she was a newlywed, and she had a beautiful new baby boy. And what I learned through this painful experience and many others is that no tragedy, no matter how painful, means the end of life. When pain is so bad, we can't imagine continuing. We must pause and breathe and make the choice to continue breathing. In the moment, pain can feel overwhelming, but pain will pass. And what I've discovered is that as difficult as it may be, our job is to see pain as a teacher, to approach it as an opportunity for growth. Sometimes that can be the only choice we have, and the quality of our life truly depends on making it. So everyone here has experienced emotional and physical pain, whether that pain involved abuse, maybe betrayal, physical illness, grief, countless other things. Yet everyone's experience of pain differs. Further, what causes pain can differ. And what drives one person to feel tremendous grief might not affect someone else in the same way at all. And this is why it's impossible to evaluate, to judge, or to compare experiences of pain. But what really matters is acknowledging pain when it exists. Acknowledging it, learn to move with it, and grow from it as a result. And these are some of the things we're really going to focus on today. So how do we do this? Well, first we have to recognize pain for what it truly is. At its worst, pain invades and paralyzes us, and it makes us vulnerable to chronic stress, chronic disease. But at its best, pain is a catalyst and our greatest teacher. It nudges us to take the next step in our evolution. It can prompt new growth and make us more resilient. It presents challenges that, if we embrace them as opportunities, can make us stronger and better able to withstand or recover swiftly from difficult conditions. So bottom line, the purpose of pain is really to rearrange our consciousness so there's an opening for a greater expression of spirit. Pain is a powerful tool in promoting ourself from one level to the next, in letting go and in moving forward. So with this introduction, I'm going to pass this off to my cohorts for their experience of pain as a great teacher for spiritual growth. I'm also really hoping that those of you in our audience will share your experiences with us as well. So I'm going to turn this over to my cohorts and see what experiences they have to share. And it looks like, Cheryl, I'm turning it over to you.
So those that know me know that back in 2014, I was in a serious car accident, and I didn't know it at the time. It took almost 2 years to discover why, but I had fractured my spine. And so there was significant pain, and I was actually in practitioner training at the time. And it was a challenge, to even walk. And so to go to practitioner training, most people could just shoot up the stairs to where our meeting was. I had to walk all the way down to the middle of the building, get on the elevator, and go up, because I literally could not lift my legs far enough to go up a stair. But I persevered. And at the time, I just remember one time in particular when I came in, and it was like one of those days when it was really taking me out. And Dale, in her kindness and her sweetness, she says, "Oh, I'm so sorry you're in pain." And I just turned around and said, "Don't feel sorry for me. Don't feel sorry for me." And I'm sure it shocked her, and I didn't mean it in a bad way, but I just meant that for me to walk through this, I could not go to that place of being a victim. I had to walk through it and figure it out. There were times when we were in practitioner training, I would have to walk out of the room and go lay flat on the floor somewhere just so I could breathe again, because the pain was just, sitting too long or whatever. But what it taught me, the thing that really brought it home, was the fact that I developed so much empathy and compassion for people that are in pain. Now, I don't know if their pain is related to what mine was, or if theirs is more, or if it was less. There's no qualifiers. It just depends who is walking through it and how you're dealing with it. And a lot of times I would get so discouraged, just, oh gosh, this is my life. But I never, ever gave up. I kept looking for an answer, for a solution. And then in 2016, I found it, and I had back surgery. And it was the most amazing thing, because I'd heard so many stories. This is the other thing. Don't do this to people. When they're having surgery or something, don't tell them about your horrible experience or your friend that never was the same again and all this other stuff. I never bought into that. When I went in to have surgery, my 3 close friends were there, and they kept saying, aren't you nervous? No. The doctor came in. Do you want a Valium or something? Because you must be nervous. I go, I'm not nervous. I'm ready. And I think that that's what made the difference, is that I realized the pain was not permanent, that there was a solution. And I just had to walk through it until I found it. And that was the difference. I realized then that no matter how much pain, whether it be emotional, mental, or physical, I can walk through it. And that was so empowering that I knew that nothing was going to keep me down after this. And so then what do? I go ahead and I finish practitioner training. I went to graduation 3 weeks after I had back surgery and graduated from practitioner training. And then I went on now, and we've gone through a ministerial training together. We went through a different organization to become ministers. We're not CSL ministers, but it just pushed me forward, and it just kept pushing me, and it just keeps wanting me to expand consciously and permanently, knowing I can walk through anything, period. That's it. So I'm sorry I took so long, but it's just pain is, to me, beautiful for what it taught me. It taught me to be stronger. It taught me humility, empathy, and it made me realize that I could be successful no matter what. So I think that Dale's going to follow me here. And so turning it over to beautiful Dale.
Thank you, Cheryl. I love your story. And I'm going to be just emphasizing a lot of the stuff you mentioned, because you hit all the chords. I remember that the Sufi poet Rumi, he talks a lot about pain, and he's got some great quotes that I just wanted to share with you before I get personal here. He says, a wound is a place where light enters your soul. And he also says the cure for pain is in the pain. And I find these very comforting in times of pain. And I recently had my own painful experience. I had to put my little kitty to sleep a couple of weeks ago because she had been diagnosed with cancer and her time had come. And I was very present with the pain, and what Cheryl said about pain as being something we've got to walk through, because I think in our world today, we're so into anesthetizing the pain and doing anything and everything we can to stop the pain. And yes, there's good for that, especially physical pain. I absolutely think if you're in physical pain, you shouldn't suffer, and do what you can to get your relief. But emotional pain and the pains of life, I do believe we do need to walk through them, like Cheryl said. And what I find comfort in, especially with what I was walking through, and just feeling so torn apart inside, and missing her so badly, and asking myself, why does this have to happen? Why do we have to go through these things? And we just do. And the pain is the greatest teacher. And for me, the greatest teaching it gives to me is reminding me about spiritual truth and the eternality of life. And just that there is a greater thing going on in our lives beyond this physical realm. There's this whole spiritual unfolding if we choose to live our life like that. Pain is a great expander of consciousness, because it allows us to see through the pain and beyond the other side about who we are as these eternal beings that just go on and on and on. And like Gail had said, that there is no end to life when people move and make their transitions, like what I experienced very recently. And the thing is that I think what what would be really important for us, especially as a society, as a world, as a humanity, is to understand that we really are wired to be able to heal from pain, especially emotional pain. And I found this for myself after having days and days of really feeling heavy with grief and sadness and sorrow and emotional pain. One day I started to feel better, and I realized, you know what, the pain does, you do get relief. It does shift. There does come comfort when you just allow yourself to go through your steps every single day. And like I did, like one day I was just feeling so torn apart, and I just let myself feel that way. I did my prayer work. I did what I could do, but I didn't try to pull myself out of feeling what I needed to feel. And what does happen in our own processes is that we do get a point where the pain subsides. And it's so important to understand that about the human condition, that yes, we feel pain, but we also get relief. And just to hang into that and see the self-growth that happens, like Cheryl so beautifully stated, the self-growth that always happens from any painful experience. There's always this nugget, this treasure that, as Rumi says, the cure for the pain is in the pain, when we can recognize it and allow ourselves to walk through it. So I'm gonna send it over now to our William. Go ahead, William.
Well, first off, thank you, Gail, very much for such a great topic. I didn't know what I was going to be able to say about that, but then after listening to Cheryl and Dale, here's what came to my mind is we learn through experience. I was the type of parent that allowed my kid to, under my supervision, knowing exactly what was going to happen, allow them to maybe get a little bit too close to that flame on the stove. You know, you're going to burn yourself. You're going to burn yourself. Well, telling somebody that they're going to burn themselves, they have no idea what that means. There's no context. There's no experience of what that means. And so having your child or learning through just words, I don't think gives you the opportunity to understand life. So I allowed my kids to climb the trees, to think that they could jump over a bush and scrape their knees. I didn't want to protect them from every little bump or boo-boo, because pain is the best learning tool. Experience, really. Pain is experience. Joy, happiness, it's all experiential. And one of the things we talk about in this philosophy is that we're spirit. We're eternal. So maybe this game we're playing is, I can imagine, because don't really know, but as spirit, as energy, there's no physical, there's no sensations. How are you to learn? How can you learn through experience if there is no experience? Just being is, and just being the I am. But by being physical and being form and having love and joy, and yes, definitely pain, it allows us to grow, to find out what we do want to experience, and definitely what we don't want to experience. So the idea of pain as a great learning tool, I definitely say yes. There's been experiences in my life where I get through it and I go, I'm definitely not going to do that again. But I'm also the type where Dr. Joe and Dale was talking about medication. And I do believe in a pill or a prayer, like Dr. Joe talks about. But I'm on the side where pain is the body telling us that there's something wrong. And so I personally don't like to take too many pills, because I want to feel that pain. In fact, actually, last week, I got a little bit exuberant in cleaning my back teeth. And it caused my cheek to swell up, and there was hurting. And Elizabeth, you've got to go to the hospital. You've got to get that taken a look at. I'm like, no, let's just see what it is. I can tell it hurts, but it's not something that needs to go to the doctor to go see. So let me just see how it's happening. And every day I would wake up, I'd feel a little bit better, but by the end of the day, it would be a little bit worse. So the pain is my barometer. It is a tool that I use of how am I feeling? And how much, and it's not a game, and I'm not saying this to be like a game of how much pain can I tolerate? You know, it's not that, but I know myself, and I know what real pain is to say, okay, I've got to go to the hospital to take a look. But in this particular example, I just allowed it to unfold, and I was very cognizant of what was going on with my body. And now 5 days later, you know, I'm completely fine. Everything is perfect. But the idea of the understanding that pain is definitely a teacher, those nerve receptors that we have, I think are very important for us to be able to experience that and not mask it. Whether it's a pill, whether it's alcohol, whether it's drugs, I think understanding and feeling the pain helps us deal with that pain. And if we can't do it on our own, well, guess what? I'm here, and these three lovely ladies right here are definitely here to help you out. That's what we do. That's our job as practitioners and as ministers, to help you through that pain, to help you through that understanding, to get to the truth of who and what you are. But with that said, I would really love to hear what our Gail has to say about that. So go ahead, Gail, take it away.
Absolutely, William. So I've loved hearing everyone's comments. Everyone said really the same thing, just in a little bit different way. I heard both Dale and Cheryl talk about walking through your pain, and William gave us some great examples of how he raised his children doing just that. And we've also talked about then how pain is a teacher, and it's not only a teacher. I really want to emphasize that pain is a spiritual teacher. It is a powerful messenger. And one thing that pain is telling us is that there is some separation. There is some separation there from spirit. And that's why I love thinking about pain as a messenger. What is it trying to tell me? Where is the separation? And I loved Dale's comment about, you know, we're wired to heal from pain, right? We're wired to heal from pain. And one way that I think about that statement also is that we're wired to process pain mindfully. So what I was really talking about in large part during my introduction was processing pain mindfully. And what does that really mean? Well, in times of really intense pain, sometimes we feel like life can't get any worse, right? And that we're always going to feel this bad. We may even feel hopeless. But processing the pain, walking through it, right, is essential to healing. Processing pain mindfully requires taking the time to feel it, just like Cheryl and Dale said, feeling it, and then mindfully reflecting on our experience. And it's through this processing our pain mindfully that we acknowledge and accept what happened and our feelings around it. And in doing so, we gain self-awareness, and we're able then to let it be, and most importantly, not get stuck. Cheryl said, I'm not going to be a victim. Instead, what did she do? She kept moving on. So when we use pain to teach us and to help us grow, when we allow pain to really shape us, that painful experience to shape us into a better, stronger person, we eventually can look back without any regret, because pain, it was that pain that made us who we are today. So pain is always very individual. It's individualized. So there's no one correct way of understanding, responding to it. But processing pain also takes time for all of us. And it tends to happen in phases. So we can't expect to just pause, breathe, and choose to say, okay, I'm over it. Sometimes that works, but often it doesn't. Think about Cheryl's experience. She wasn't over it right away. It took some time to work into that surgical process, the healing, and then the learning, looking back and reflecting, what did I learn? So we tend to make progress in stages. And I'll be honest, we should expect that pain sometimes returns at times. It can be like a wave, an ebb and flow. So the intention is never just to merely endure pain, as Dale said, but by pursuing growth and happiness, to use pain to learn and to improve and to grow ourselves. So you know that I always like to be practical, and I always like to offer some tools. So I'd like to share maybe 4 or 5 thoughts to consider in processing pain mindfully. So what I found is that, first of all, acknowledge what happened. That's what I have to do, is get to the point where I can acknowledge what happened. And the truth is when a really sudden, powerful disturbance rocks your world, the important thing to do is acknowledge it. Acknowledge that this happened. You know, we find we often react to big situations with shock, followed by maybe disbelief and sometimes denial. And this defense mechanism is important because it buffers the immediate shock, which might be more than what we are able to process at the time. But if you recognize and acknowledge that this is a defensive reaction, that way you don't get stuck there. And then you can eventually move on to the next step. So that's the first one, is acknowledge what happened. The second is really feel and process and accept the pain. So breathe, listen to your heart, observe your emotions. Try not to push them away. As Dale said, feel what you feel. Try not to ignore them either, because what we know is what you resist persists. So try to experience your emotions as they want to naturally arise and fall, like a wave coming and going. And just remind yourself this too will pass. And after that, it's time to reflect on and learn from your pain. Find the meaning and the lesson in the experience and in your reaction. And as Cheryl shared, sometimes that takes a long time, and that's okay. Choose to be curious. Maybe ask, what's the lesson in this? And if it's not clear, pause and breathe and say, what's the upside of this situation that maybe I don't see in this moment? And also continue to consider removing this phrase, I don't know. It's easy to say, I don't know, and move on, right? But keep reflecting until you discover the lessons. The fourth is probably to forgive. Because forgiveness is really a gift. It's a gift that you give to yourself that authorizes your freedom. And then when you're ready, let go and move forward. As you learn the lessons of pain, forgive, put down your heavy baggage of the past, let go and move forward. Let the pain be and adapt to what's new, a new, wiser version of yourself. You can rewrite your story as the stronger and enlightened person you are becoming. And in this way, you celebrate your own growth and your own evolution. So I'm wondering, with those tools, if any of my cohorts would like to share how they process pain mindfully.
I'll go next. Do you know, one of the things that Gail said is not to ignore it, but then to process it. And what I found was, after I had walked through this experience, and I could never, I thought, how did this happen? How did I attract this? How did I attract this pain? But then I went back and I reflected on one of the things as I was growing up was that I never understood why my dad drank so much. My dad had 7 discs removed from his back that were cancerous when I was only 14 years old. And he was in the hospital for a year and a half afterwards with radiation and everything else. And he did, survive, and he came out, but he hated pain pills. He hated the way they made him feel, but he was in constant pain after that. and it was in his lower back, just like where my pain was as well. And what I realized after I'd walked through this experience, I suddenly understood my dad. I didn't go to alcohol. I didn't. I was given so much pain medication that if I had taken it all, I would have had to go into rehab after having surgery, you know, just to get over the pain pills. But what it made me see was have a different perspective about why my dad drank. It did. It made me understand that the pain he was in constantly, because I was fortunate in that I walked through that pain and I came out the other side, and now I'm great. I mean, my back is fabulous. Everything is good. But for him to go through all that and not come out that way. So sometimes it's like we experience pain and it makes us understand other people a lot better and understand what their decision, maybe their decision on how they're dealing with it is not what you would do, but you just have to step back and just say, okay, now I understand. I understand in a whole different way than I did before. And it just changed my whole perspective. And then I started getting to enjoy the happy memories of my father rather than just remembering my father as drunk. You know, and I got to remember all of these things opened up to me when I changed my perspective after walking through that pain. And that's what pain can do for you. It can change your perspective of what's going on around you. It can make you just so grateful for what you have and how much joy and laughter and happiness there is in life after you've walked through something like that. But just remember, you can't, what was it Netsky said? You can gaze too long into the abyss, and the abyss will also start gazing into you. So you can just stay in that pain, or you can get up and start walking one step, one step, one step. And sometimes those steps are not very big, trust me, but you still just can walk through it. We know too many people, I'm sure you know people in your life that have had a painful situation and they never can seem to let it go. They want to stay there. It defines who they are. Now this is who they are. And that's why I still feel bad about that day. I snapped it down for saying, oh, I'm so sorry you're going through this. And I knew it was out of kindness, but I just was not going to go to that place of living there for the rest of my life. This was going to change and I knew it. Boom, that was it. So thank you for letting me share that. And I do believe that Dale's going to go next.
Thank you, Cheryl. You brought such a great point up. I just want to emphasize that one of the gifts of pain is it creates compassion in us. And that's so huge for our whole world. And something that I've been really present to lately is just all of the societal animosity that's happening in our world right now. I was thinking one of the great equalizers and one of the great common denominators of all people is that we all have some sort of pain. And if we could talk to each other and hear each other's pain, I think it could bring a lot of healing for us as a society and to stop being so divided. But I love that you brought compassion up, Cheryl. That's so cool. Going back to Gail's asking us about some tools that we use when we process through pain. One of my favorites is journaling. Whenever I have a painful experience and I need to process it, I like we're talking about being present to it and being alive to it. That's what I do. And I allow myself to be alive to it and listening to it and dialoguing with it by journaling it. Journaling what I'm feeling, journaling the deep emotions of it all, just so they come outside of myself. When pain is just stuffed and we give it just little spurts rather than just really letting it flow. When we really let it flow, we're going to move through it, I think, more mindfully, first of all, because you're going to be active with your dialoguing with it and seeing what it's trying to teach you. And also you're giving a voice to it, which is allowing it to come outside of yourself, which allows the movement of your experience to happen. And something I just want to share, I as many of you know, I was raised in the Jewish tradition. And when somebody passes away, you're given, if you're the part of the close family, you're given this ribbon, and a little bit of it, they tear the ribbon before they have the funeral. And I was asking the rabbi at my dad passed away. I asked him, why do you do that? What does this mean? Because I really never knew. And he said in ancient times, when somebody passed away and the bereaved are feeling that intense pain, they rip their clothes because they're so upset. And I thought that's such a cool expression, because that ripping and allowing your body to just feel the pain at such a deep level allows it to come forward and be expressed. So I think the more we can involve our whole body, mind, and soul going through any kind of pain, the more we're going to process through it clearly. And like Cheryl was saying, when we process through stuff completely and clearly, we don't need to live in it anymore, because what's really important to remember is that pain is just one aspect of a complete life experience. Pain is just one part of it. We also have joy, we have surprise, we have love, we have so many different parts of our life. But when we let pain just become the dominant, then we cut off our life force. So that's what I have to say. William, go for it.
All right, excellent. Thank you. Hey, Krista, could you bring up that last comment that someone just put up talking about us teachers? Not that one, the one right after that one. Okay, it was something about teachers. Anyway, I wanted to bring up, as Cheryl was talking, I wrote down pain equals teacher. And I find that, or I don't journal. My mind is too quick, I'm processing stuff too fast to be able to write it down. However, that's not to say that I don't process. I sit and I think about it, and I examine it virtually in my head. That's the only way I can describe it. It's taking out the pencil and looking around at every different angle and examining it. But pain is a great way to be a teacher. Not a teacher of me when I'm going through pain, but Cheryl, the pain that she went through as a child and those experiences, and Dale, yes, pain is just one facet on the diamond of life. But we're talking about that particular facet, so that's why we're staying on that subject. But Cheryl now has a great vantage point upon which to be the teacher for someone who is actually going through that experience. And so the idea that the pain that we have or that we go through, excuse me, is what allows us to be teachers. It opens our hearts, because we can, it allows us to understand what the client or what that person, that friend in front of us is going through, because we've gone through it. We can't exactly tell them their path, but we can show and tell them of our experience, which then gives them an understanding of where they are, but knowing that the pain is temporary. There's only the now. In what I mean by that is, right now you're going through pain, but that's not the totality of your life. That's just one aspect. This too shall pass. I love that. But by going through pain ourselves, are we not teachers for the next person? Whether it be family or whether it be a stranger in a parking lot at the grocery store. The point is, again, we are all nothing short than the totality of spirit in action in form, so that we then have the experience, not just knowing about pain or joy or love, but the experiences of those emotions and those feelings to actually embody life. So the idea of now I'm a teacher for others, that's a big responsibility. But if you don't take it with too much weight you enjoy life, it's a great ride. This roller coaster of life is a great ride. So if you're going through pain now, just know that that will change. How it changes, I have no idea. A pill and a prayer, combination of one or the other, or separate individually. But it's all the same thing. It's all spirit unfolding perfectly. So as you go through your pain, just know that maybe the silver lining is you now have the tools to be the teacher for someone else. You have the ability now to help someone enhance and improve their life. So with that, I open it up to who is next. I believe it's going to be Gail.
Thanks, William. So I'm going to jump in with a couple of, I guess what I'd call them is more closing comments, because we are getting close to the end of our time together. And what I've really heard from all of my cohorts is that a very important and valuable thing to do is to befriend our pain. We haven't used that term yet, but really befriend it, because it will make us stronger and braver. And it will not only teach us, but what we then have learned, we are able to use to teach others and to support others as they're going through their difficult times. And as I'm thinking about that, I'm kind of chuckling to myself, because it feels like kind of a dangerous thing to suggest that our pain could be helpful to us. You know, it's so uncommon in self-help contexts and oftentimes in spiritual contexts to suggest that we get closer to our difficult emotions. So much advice is about almost stubbornly feeling positive contentment, no matter how terrible the situation might be. And as you can tell from our comments, that's not what we're saying at all. The truth is, no one likes to feel sorrow or stress or anger. And if we try to paste over these emotions with something more positive, we can lose an important opportunity for growth. So I mentioned gratitude before. That's a great tool to use. But we don't want to just paste over our emotions with gratitude. That's one tool as we walk through this journey. And modern science now and psychology is just beginning to show us what some branches of Tantra and Buddhism have known for generations, that trying to push away your negative emotions only gives them more power. I think we've all experienced that. And further, you can't only numb some emotions. Muffling pain also can muffle joy and connection and pleasure. So the best way to manage difficult feelings is to let yourself feel them. Hands down, walk through it. So I'm wondering if any of my cohorts have any closing comments before Dale closes us out today.
Believe it or not, pain makes you more resilient. It opens you up to realizing that things that you thought you could never walk through, that you actually can. And that is the most beautiful thing, why I call it beautiful, about pain, is that you realize what you are, who you are, the truth of what your experience is, that you have the ability, no matter how excruciating or how horrible it seems at the moment, but you have the ability to, as Gail says so beautifully, embrace that and stop hiding from it or thinking that you can sugarcoat it and put it away, and it will, all it does is it starts growing and it festers, and you have to just let it go and start walking through it. And that's the, what's it, Lao Tzu, my favorite, y'all know this, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. And most people aren't aware of the fact that that is from the I Ching. But so just remember that everything, all it takes is that one momentum, that one thing, to just step one step at a time. no matter how slow, like I was, but still, just always staying in that conscious thought of just moving forward and knowing that you're going to come out the other side stronger and better. So thank you for letting me share today, people.
Thank you, Cheryl. William, did you want a closing comment, or are you good? You're good? Okay. My closing comment is just, and there's been a couple of people that have joined our conversation online, that pain does make us very present to what is. And something I just want to emphasize, and Gail touched upon it as well, pain is a call for us to see where love and where wholeness are not being experienced by us. It allows us to find why am I feeling separated from wholeness or love, and that's who is part of what we can learn from any painful experience. So I want to just thank Gail for giving us a great topic, and it's always so good hearing where everybody's coming from, and such a rich conversation today. So before I go into some of the closing comments I'd like to make today, I just want to reach out to our community and thank you all for participating with us. And we're always very grateful for any financial contributions you can give to our center. As you can see, there are many ways that you can support us through PayPal. You can drop a check by the office or mail it to us, credit card, everything and anything. We really rely upon your financial contributions to keep our center running. And it's been quite an interesting year, and we're going into our new year of opening up in May. We're going to start opening up our center to small groups to come in on Sundays. And this Sunday, we'll have our first live service with some spiritual community coming in, about 100 people. We are already full this Sunday, just to let you know. But if you want to attend any other Sundays in May, please call the office at 760-346-4649. You do need to reserve a seat so that we know how many people are coming, because we have to keep it at a certain number for now. And so we're very excited, and we welcome you to join us. Dr. Joe will be here this Sunday, and we'll also be showing our service live stream as well at 10 o'clock. Something else I want to announce is this will be our last All for One for now, because you never know. But since we are starting to go live, our 10 o'clock shows will be concluding this week. And speaking for myself and perhaps my cohorts, it's been an absolute joy to be given this platform for us to talk about how life is, and looking at through a spiritual lens, and just being a part of your life, and being able to come together in this modality of communication has been a blessing for all of us to be able to stay in touch. And so now that we're opening up, we are finding that we don't need to have our Monday through Friday anymore for now. So just join us live on Sundays, but we will be finishing out the week with Dr. Laura. She will be having her show tomorrow, her book study, and I think Friday Jeff will have his show as well. And then we'll have our meditations; those will continue. I believe. The meditations will continue on Sunday, although I don't know. I will get back to all of you on that. I'm sure we'll be emailing everybody with a rundown about what will still be shown on live stream or on YouTube. So stay tuned for that. And if you have any questions, just contact our office. But we just love being in your presence. We love the conversation, and we're just knowing that there's so much creative energy that we're all tuned into right now, to be inspiring, to be part of this wonderful communal discussion that we have every day, actually. And we're looking forward to just being a part of your life in new ways that may not have shown up yet. So please give us your input. We would love to hear from you. Anything new that you would like us to consider doing, or anything at all. We love your input, because we don't know what you want, what you need out there. So please communicate so that we can give you the spiritual nourishment that you're yearning to have in your life. Okay, I think that's all of my announcements. We still have our social eights, so you can join Cheryl and William on Thursday. I hear it's so much fun. So you can join them. We do have a link on the website that allows you to get into the Zoom room, 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time on Thursdays. And I know we've got our grief group on Tuesday at 5. That's by Reverend Michael Kukuru. And we'll let you know on the other stuff. We've got a lot of stuff in flux right now, so just stay tuned for what we've got offering. So on that note, beloveds, I am going to close us out and just do a prayer. So if you want to just close your eyes and just join me in this wonderful knowing. that everywhere that we are, God is. And even though life can be uncomfortable through pain, we know that underneath it all is a great lesson for us to learn that allows us to expand our consciousness and to remember who we are as that expression of God that all are. And so I'm grateful to know that everything that was spoken today landed in a place where there can be great curiosity and exploration of how we can utilize the ideas that were presented today in our own lives to bring us comfort, to bring us wisdom, to give us tools that allow us to process through all life mindfully. And with the knowing in our heart that we have the ability to heal, to grow, to expand, and to enjoy this life in a deeper way than ever thought when we look at life and all experiences through the heart and through understanding the wisdom that is always present to expand us, to transform us, and to bring us into a place of balance and joy and love. And so I am just knowing a wonderful rest of the day for everybody here, and that we just continue enlightening ourselves through various ways that allow us to see truth and to see who we are and just to be in the flow of life that is the divine. And so I bless everybody who joined us today and every day, knowing that we continue to be in that stream of spirit of love and light, and to be part of the community that is so nourishing and rich, that allows us to know who we are, to forgive everything, and just to be in the energy of love at all times. And so I bless us all as we let go and just allow life to be experienced with a full, complete heart and a mindful mind, knowing all is well. And so it is.